Hi, everyone. I'm Rosemary Miller here with Emily Baker White, a technology reporter and senior writer here at Forbes. Thank you so much for joining me, Emily.
Thank you.
Emily, so you have an article titled "The FBI and the Department of Justice Are Investigating ByteDance's Use of TikTok to Spy on Journalists." Could you just give me a backstory of what happened here?
Yeah, so this is a saga that began in October 2022 when, well, sort of began even beyond that. This past summer, I wrote a big story about TikTok based on a lot of hours of leaked audio recordings. And TikTok and its parent company, ByteDance, were really freaked out by the fact that so much information had leaked to me. And they started an investigation to try to figure out who was talking to me and who was leaking to me from inside the company. In October, I learned that TikTok and ByteDance had actually sought to use information from my personal TikTok account in order to figure out where I was. So they were pulling my IP address from my TikTok account in order to try to figure out a vague approximation of my location and then to match that IP address to IP addresses of their own employees' devices on the theory that if I was meeting a source in a coffee shop or a library or something, and both my device and the source's device pinged from the same IP address, they would know who was talking to me. Now, they say they didn't actually find any sources this way, but what they did do by pulling my data was show that US user data is still, or was still at the time that this information was pulled, available to employees not only of TikTok, but of TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, and to people who are based in China. And that raised a lot of concerns among US lawmakers who fear that if US user data is accessible to those people in China, those people could be forced by the Chinese government to turn it over in ways that could actually endanger people.
Wow. Emily, I want to go back a little bit. What actually prompted you to start investigating TikTok initially?
So my first story about TikTok was a little over a year ago now, and it looked at TikTok's data practices and an initiative that they call Project Texas. And Project Texas was this sort of big bet project within TikTok to sequester US user data and limit access to it to mostly just a US based team. And this was a really ambitious project, and it was meant to address the national security concerns that the Trump administration had raised a few years back. But it turns out that separating out US TikTok from the global TikTok was really hard to do because TikTok is just another app built on ByteDance's software. It was just another product of this company, ByteDance. And like any app of its size, like a Facebook or a Google, there are dozens and dozens of internal tools that send data around all the time. And those aren't nefarious. They're what powers the monetization dashboard over here and some like analytics suite over there. And if you were to just cut off all the access to those tools, lots of things in the app would break. Like it wouldn't be good for regular users of TikTok. But the fact that all of that data is flowing in all these ways all the time in the back end of TikTok meant that it's actually really hard to make sure that US user data stays limited to that small group of US employees.
And I read somewhere where the US is trying to demand that TikTok separates from ByteDance to continue its operations. But I believe we were discussing earlier that the leaders are really integrated in ByteDance. The leaders of TikTok are really integrated in ByteDance. So like what does that mean? Is it even possible? Because they report to ByteDance, right?
Yeah, so I've done a lot of reporting on this over the past year or so. TikTok and ByteDance work very, very closely together, and employees at TikTok and ByteDance, it's almost like they don't know what company they work for. I've had people who signed a contract with TikTok, but like got a paycheck from ByteDance or got a W-2 from ByteDance. And internally, TikTok employees use ByteDance software for all of their communications with each other. They use a ByteDance VPN. ByteDance is a very sort of active part of making the TikTok app run today. And so, if we zoom out a little bit, yes, TikTok has been negotiating an attempted national security agreement with the federal government for several years now. And just last week, the federal government body that was doing that negotiation, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, apparently told TikTok, ByteDance is going to have to sell TikTok or we may ban the app entirely. And that was a really, really big development in this years-long negotiation. And it was a real big blow to TikTok, because what TikTok has been trying to prove through this negotiation the whole time is that ByteDance doesn't have to sell TikTok, and there is a way for TikTok and ByteDance to secure US user data while still allowing ByteDance to own the app. And that is essentially what the Biden administration is now saying they don't think is possible.
Wow. So, okay. What are the chances that TikTok will actually be banned? Because we have been hearing about a possible ban for a few years now.
Sure. I think nobody actually wants to ban this app. I think what a lot of legislators and regulators are hoping for is that there will be a forced sale instead, and that ByteDance will sell TikTok's US operations to US company, or TikTok will separate and become its own separate entity, not owned by ByteDance anymore. And to your point, that will be logistically difficult to do because ByteDance is so ingrained in making TikTok run. I don't think it will be impossible, though I do think just from a technical standpoint, there will be hiccups. Things won't work quite as well because they will have to sort of sever data flows when they don't fully understand what they do and they haven't fully set up to account for that. And so I think there will be some technical hiccups, but I do think it's possible for TikTok to fully separate from ByteDance. It just hasn't done so yet. And the question is, can the government force it to do that and thus avoid an actual ban?
Well, what does this mean for the creators? Because there are a lot of people who their livelihood is because of TikTok. Should creators start looking for new platforms? What would you suggest?
I think creators should look for new platforms, not because TikTok might be banned, but because no app is forever and no audience is forever. So like one thing that we've learned looking back at Facebook, at Instagram, at YouTube, is that these platforms change their algorithms all the time, right? They may choose that they really want to, elevate X type of content, and that comes at a cost to Y type of content. These things are ever changing. And if I were a creator or if I was advising creators, I would say get on as many platforms as you can and try to keep as much control over your audience as you can. Really build a relationship with them where they will follow you from app to app to app, because at any moment, TikTok might decide to downrank your sector of content or to uprank a competing sector of your content, just the same way that Facebook and YouTube have done. And so whether there's a TikTok ban or not, I think it's really important for creators to have a diverse presence across many platforms and to really try to build that connection with their audience that goes beyond any individual platform.
Do you think creators and other TikTok users should be worried about their data? I mean, what was your reaction actually after finding that out?
Well, I realized it was a big story right away. I think it is sort of clear that TikTok and ByteDance had a higher than usual level of interest in my location because they were trying to figure out who was talking to me. That rationale probably doesn't extend to your average creator, but I guess I would advise anyone putting stuff out there online just to recognize that none of it is as safe as we wish it were. And so if you are putting out really sensitive information, just be really aware that none of it is necessarily as private as we might hope it is, or as companies actually intend for it to be. And so that's just like a general warning, I guess.
And I'm also curious, can TikTok actually thrive if U.S. creators aren't on there? So if somehow the U.S. actually does ban TikTok, what does that mean for international creators?
It's a great question. And I think, can it thrive? Maybe, but it would be a tremendously different app without US creators and without US audiences. And one of the things that's really powerful about TikTok today is that we as audiences can connect with all sorts of different international creators, and international audiences can connect with our creators. And that's not unique to TikTok. That there's a lot of international content on Instagram and on, Google too. But I think TikTok would be a very, very different app if there were a US ban. It would be a different app for everyone across the world.
Okay. So is there anything else you think we should know about this story? Have there been any updates?
Well, TikTok's CEO is testifying before Congress tomorrow. I'm in DC to cover it, and I'm really curious what he's going to say.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Emily.
All right. Thanks.